Hi everybody, Coulter Brown here with Northern Ag TV, coming to you from the Wyoming Stock Growers Convention in Casper, and I'm joined by Wyoming State Veterinarian Dr. Hallie Hasel. And Hallie, it's been a busy year in your camp when you think of the different animal health issues that have popped up this year. One that we hadn't seen in 50 years was anthrax, and that was something that took a little time to identify.
It has certainly been an interesting year at Coulter. And anthrax, we hadn't seen anthrax in Wyoming since the 1970s. We did not know that it was in the area that it occurred. And unfortunately, it was a huge learning lesson for the herds that were involved. But thankfully now we know we have vaccination, which is highly effective and highly economical. And we do have an anthrax plan now written for our state. So there was a learning environment that occurred as a result of that outbreak.
Well, good to be prepared for future situations. And then there were just a lot of odd things that kind of popped up nationally here with the avian flu that showed up in cattle. And now we're worried about screwworms from Mexico. So animal health, very top of mind for producers right now.
Absolutely. You know, we've seen things we've never ever seen in the world, actually, with high pathogen livestock. It's been seen in the United States, not seen anywhere else in the world that we are currently aware of. It's been a challenge that we work with USDA on to develop the protocol that's out there right now. The new milk orders that are out there, which our dairies will need to comply with. But the screwworm situation, we have faith in USDA's ability to create that protocol to open up those markets again. And also it's a big important factor that we really need to educate our producers, even in Wyoming, because you don't think about the fact that maybe we don't have a lot of feeder cattle out of Mexico, but we do see other things coming from Mexico, whether it's livestock as far as horses, whether it's rodeo cattle. Rodeo is huge in Wyoming, obviously, so we worry about those rodeo cattle. We worry about horses coming in, and then we also have the domestic pets we see come out of Mexico into Wyoming that we are concerned about. So that screwworm situation is something for all of us to be highly aware of.
You bet. Big effect on the national market, too. And the other thing I would just mention is with the DSA, I think we ought to commend the producers there that are diligent on their testing for brucellosis. It's something that's going to continue to come up, but it takes those producers being diligent to keep markets open.
Our DSA producers are extremely important in keeping the markets open in Wyoming. The export value of our cattle basically is set by those producers. And we know that they voluntarily test those herds every year to keep our markets open and to prevent restrictions against our cattle that are moving to other states. So extremely important. I want to tell them all thank you for what they do. And they have probably been the most impacted by the ADT rule because of the regulatory testing that occurs. And they're willing volunteers to participate. So thank you very much on that. Yeah.
And, of course, the new traceability rules that have been updated to switch from the metal clip tags to the EID tags. A lot of questions, a lot of misunderstanding, I think, that's out there. But really, it's a switch from different kinds of tags, and you're trying to just educate producers on what the requirements are now.
Thank you. Our goal is to basically provide that education. We're not talking about bias. We're not talking about politics. We're talking about simple education on those tags. So what does it really say? It really says, Wyoming producers, you need to have an EID tag for cattle over 18 months of age, or dairy cattle, or rodeo or exhibition cattle. Probably about 90% of our producers have been doing this since it originally started in 2013. For the majority of our folks, it's already in place, and they're using those EID tags as a management tool as well. There isn't any paperwork that changes for the producer. It's strictly on the behalf of the livestock board or the veterinarian to keep those records, which we had to do anyway. The biggest issue we have is the availability of tags. That is a concern for some of us, but it doesn't change the overall aspect of keeping records. That's required. It's just adding that electronic component to that tag. That's all that changes.
And the last clarification I would make, cattle that were tagged with that metal clip before November 5th, they're grandfathered in. No changes need to be made, correct?
Absolutely. If that animal received a metal tag prior to November 5th, she is grandfathered in. No EID tag is required. Correct.
Well, thank you for the clarity and your work on behalf of the Wyoming livestock industry. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
From Northern Ag TV, I'm Coulter Brown. Stick with us. We'll be back with the markets.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Talking with someone that you know is stressed out, those are difficult things to approach, but if you're good friends with those people, reach out and say, I'm here to talk to you. We can find somewhere to get some assistance. it's hard to get involved, but at the same time, you want to just say, hey, there is help available.
For more tips in dealing with stress in agriculture or for free counseling for egg producers, visit beyondtheweather.com.
Thanks for sticking around for the markets here. You know, cattle futures have found renewed strength this week. Some support from early week cash trade coming in $1 higher on a live basis at $191. That's helped the live cattle futures pushing up to their highest point since March on the spot contract. Feeders working higher too, retaking a lot of last week's losses. There is some concern about beef demand as these cattle prices push higher, but honestly right now beef demand has been nothing short of impressive. Calf market also pretty impressive too, reaching all-time highs here in December in a lot of cases. In Riverton this week, we saw the upper 4-weight steers from 360 to 370, 5 to 5.5 weights 352 to 378. Upper 5-weight steers selling 325 to 340, and your 6 to 6.5 weights from 290 to 305. A lot of bull sales happening right now. Hollow Top Angus held their sale at Montana Livestock Auction, and 82 bulls averaged 65.82. That's up a whopping 43% from last year. And in the grain market, the futures processing the World Supply and Demand Report came out bullish for corn, with USDA slashing ending stocks by 200 million bushels, far below expectations. World wheat supplies stayed steady, but domestic stocks were cut by 20 million bushels, so that provided some market support, and hopefully it's the start of a winter rally and we can start grinding these grain prices higher. Well, thanks for joining us for today's Northern Ag TV. I'm Coulter Brown. Have a good one.